I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like the sequels. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and this is going to be episode 23 of the Starkiller base mock build series. And this is an exciting episode because we finally got 2 turbo lasers. You can see them right there behind me. But before we get into that, I do want to give a very special thanks to those of you who have contributed via super chat on the live stream. So shout out to Mark Parisher, Kult of Christiansen, Xavier Sorrent, Cosmic Brick 44, Matthew T, and Perfectly Legitimate Name. Like I always say, guys, if you're not tuning into the live streams, I certainly urge you to do so. It is a great way for you to not only see the mock early, but to also just hang out with some boyos, talk Star Wars. Could it really get any better than that? But thanks to you guys who contributed, it goes such a long way in furthering and continuing this mock, so I really do appreciate that. But like I said, we got the 2 turbo lasers, and you can kind of see them in the distance, which really does just make the mock look so much more whole, considering that now on both sides we have rock work, and on both sides we have the turbo lasers. I also started on the interior of the base, which was so exciting, since it's really been a long time since I've done anything interior related in a mock. But I did work on an interior room on this side of the mock, so you guys will be able to check that out as well. And I'm really feeling like we're moving into some unique parts of the mock, because like what I've done so far, like up until this update, other than, you know, covering some things with tiles, just refining a few areas, this side of the mock is almost completely done, and you guys will see that as we proceed further in the video. So without further ado, let's go in and check out Starkiller Base. I made it my goal to have this turbo laser finished for this episode, and I did it. Well, mostly. So this is the second turbo laser. As you can see, it's mostly there. There are a few details that I just didn't have the parts for, so I had to omit. Namely, the like little cover sections. There's like a bunch of grill tiles that kind of cover up the ends of the lasers, so you can actually probably see it better on that side. That's what that should look like. Those are not present on this one. So I already got an order placed, so that should be fixed by the next episode, and this thing will be fully operational. But I'm super happy with it. It rotates just like the other one. One thing I probably do want to add to this is probably more like snow details on the top. On the other one, I had actually a considerable amount of like snow details, just some white tiles on the top. This one has none, but I did add some on the side. So I'm probably going to do that between now and next episode. But for now, I'm just super happy that we finally got 2 turbo lasers on this mock. This half of the mock, it still sounds crazy to say that, half of the mock. But this half of the mock is looking so good now. Here's a better view of it with both turbo laser. You can see that the station is fully armed now. The rebels don't want no smoke with Starkiller base. In all seriousness, I love the aesthetic of having the 2 turbo lasers there. Man, it really just reminds me of sitting in the theater and like witnessing Hux give that speech for the first time. You got that boy Hux right there posted up on the main area of the stage. One other thing I probably ought to address is the minifig situation. This is actually something that I haven't mentioned, and I've been meaning to, just haven't gotten around to it. But my boy Lego Soldier 82 hooked me up with some extra figures to put in the mock. So those are going to be super, super useful to filling out a lot of these blanks. I actually have more figures that just aren't placed here. Any of you who have been following this for a while have seen, like, when all the figures are placed on this, there are significantly fewer gaps. So this is not like, I'm not this far off when it comes to having enough figures to complete the mock. But the thing to consider is I have a whole other side of the mock to do, where there's going to be troops, you know, walking around the base. Maybe not this many troops, but still a significant amount. So probably going to be looking on Bricklink soon to just get some orders and fill out the figures, at least on this side. Like, since I'm almost done with this half of the mock, I literally just have to like refine some areas, tile off the areas around the sides of the big building, and of course those 2 interior sections. This half of the mock's going to be done, which is so exciting. And again, I guess I also have to do another first order transporter, but I'm probably going to hold off on that for now, just because that's something that isn't crucial to completing the look of this side of the mock. But what that means is I want to have just a very clear picture of what this will look like, and that includes having all the minifigures here. So I might actually make it a point between now and the next episode to go through and pull all the figs I have, and set them out, and then, you know, place some orders to just fill in the gaps, because I'm so ready to just be done with this side of the MOC, move on to the next side. This has been such a journey. I mean, really just looking at this, I know it's kind of hard to really just imagine how monumental this MOC is, even just this half of it. And like when I was conjuring up what I wanted to do with this MOC, I didn't anticipate this section taking so long, but it is just absolutely massive, and it looks incredible, I think. So totally worth the time, totally worth the delay in finishing the entire MOC. But it is very exciting that we're actually almost done. We just gotta do the interiors, tile up a lot of the rest of the MOC, and we'll be good to go on this side. So what I'm actually going to do next is work on a little bit of the interior. I figured I'd start on this room on this side. So we can see we have a little opening. So we're going to actually start adding an interior in this, something I haven't done in a while. So let's go ahead and take you guys to the other room where I will be working on the interior. So it's 2019, and for whatever reason, a lot is still being made about Rey's lineage. Does she have special parents? Is she a clone? Even though we already got the answer to that in The Last Jedi. So I decided to have a little bit of fun with this room, and I'm actually going to make it a cloning chamber with a bunch of Rey clones in these vats, because that is just hilarious to me. Here's a little thing I've thrown together in LDD. You can see we have just these back-to-tank looking tubes, and I'm just going to get a bunch of Rey figures and have them kind of floating around in there. Unfortunately, I don't have the parts to like have 5 of these. In fact, I think I have the parts literally to just do 2 of them, so I'm not going to be able to incorporate that into the build today. But this is my general idea for this room. Another thing that I actually started working on was a little prototype. So I was thinking, you know, what kind of wall design do I want to use for this room? So I took a look at this scene. It's the Interrogation Room from The Force Awakens on Starkiller base. And I really like this wall design in here. I don't know, just it looks good enough to me. So I decided let's go ahead and try to do something like that in Lego. And this is what I came up with. It actually looks pretty good in my opinion. So probably going to stick with this and replicate it a few times. Unfortunately, won't be able to actually build this in real bricks because I don't have a lot of these pieces down here, the like wall elements, and I need jumpers, dark gray jumpers in there to finish those off. This is actually a pretty intricate wall design. There's a little bit of snot going on here, so if we rotate it around to the back, you can see that the outer sections just connect to the base plate as normal, but this middle section in here, it's actually a little interesting how it connects, so I'm actually going to go ahead and push this out. You guys can get a look at this assembly in here. So these are some reverse, I guess, 1x2x3 slopes. And then there's the 1x2x2 slopes here, looking pretty good. And then I just used some jumpers to connect the top to the bottom, and then they just kind of sit like right in the middle in there. And then at the very bottom, there's a 1x2 tile. This angular piece right here basically just allows this entire section to connect in here. And it's honestly kind of shocking how perfectly this worked out, but it literally just slides in right there, can connect to the top, and it's like the perfect distance from the back of the wall to ensure that like the jumpers lie flush with the wall. You can kind of tell there. So overall, I'm super happy with the way this looks. Now that I have like a physical prototype with it, I think just to finish off this episode, I'll go ahead to the LDD file and just finish off the walls in the room, including the floor, and just make it look mostly finished. That way I have a good idea of like where I should move forward with parts, and then I can determine whether or not it's even worth starting or like worth just me ordering the parts and then actually like getting the room built up once I have those parts in. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So I actually ended up saying, screw LDD, let's just go ahead and build this thing in real bricks, and I actually was able to get a decent amount of work done. So as expected, still wasn't able to fully get the pods here done, but I have the bases of them done, even with some little consoles on the bottom. So just got to order in those like trans blue curved, like I guess half circle wall element pieces to go around these, put some Rey figs in there, and we'll be good to go in terms of that. Also need to tile up the floor with these black tiles. I thought I had a ton of them. Apparently I had none of them. So I'll need to go ahead and grab some of those. And I think for the next episode, I hope like if the parts come in, I'll definitely have it. ready to go, just this room in its entirety. Otherwise, I think after that we'll certainly have this room done, but for the most part it's done. It's looking really good. I actually did make a slight design change to the wall design. If you'll notice, before I guess the slopes on the inside stuck in a little bit farther, but now I've actually brought them closer, which is actually more accurate. And it allowed me to finish these, because with the old design I just needed to use more pieces that I didn't have, whereas with this one I had all the pieces on hand to complete it, so it actually ended up working out in two regards. Here's a better look at the reverse side of these walls. You can see what actually ended up happening was these slopes at the bottom literally just kind of sit in there due to friction, and you can pull them right out. But they seem to hold in there pretty well, so I'm not super concerned about that. Plus, this would be a stationary room just sitting there. It's not super crucial that I have those locked in. But in all, I really just love the wall design. I think it looks pretty incredible. It gives you that Starkiller base aesthetic. And in this room, where I initially was planning to just make it a square room, with pretty simple walls, I like that I kind of evolved it into doing this, especially with that curved back. That was something I kind of decided on the fly, and I think it makes a much more dynamic looking room. One of the things I'm slightly concerned about is, like, once I add the pods in, how much is that going to obscure the walls? Like, it's not a super huge deal. I'm just like, I hope the walls are at least somewhat recognizable behind those pods, so it doesn't feel like, oh, I did all that work on the walls just for someone to not even be able to see them behind there. But I think at worst case, you'll definitely be able to see it through there and through there if you're looking into this room while it's like in the mock. One other thing I'm going to have to do is actually like put this in the actual build, because I have basically a cutout that you'll be able to see into to see this room, but I didn't make sure the height of this room is actually good for that. So basically like the ceiling doesn't stop too low and you'll be able to see the ceiling from the side. So I just need to make sure the height of this room is good to go, and it's going to be a good time after that. So really, that's all I got for you guys in this episode. I'm super happy I was able to get somewhat of an interior done. It's, like I said, been such a long time since I've done anything like this in a build series, and I definitely would love to know what you guys think about that. So let's go ahead and go to the end of the video. And that's going to finish up the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out the progress this week. Like I said, this side of this mock is almost done, and I feel like I can actually realistically say that, because like all the big parts of it are finished. Both turbolasers are done. Both rockworks are done. Rockworks. And we really just have to cover up some of the exposed areas with some tiles, add some like cargo crates and such, just little details like that throughout the like stage of the base, and we'll be good to go on this side of the mock. So in terms of next week's update, I'm really anticipating just being 100% done with this side of the mock. That means that I'm going to start the like tiling up of the areas. You can see the colorful areas exposed right there. Finish that up, really shouldn't take too long. Also add the like ice that's supposed to be on the sloped side on this side of the mock. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's basically like an exposed area right on top of this little ledge right here, as well as on the side of this building that needs to be tiled up. So that'll need to be done as well, and hopefully can make a decent amount of progress on the interior on this side of the build. I think I have some pretty cool and interesting things to put inside of there, so you guys should definitely stay tuned for that. But that's all I got for you this week, guys. Like I always say, if you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.